Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to episode 164 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And you sounded exactly like you did last week.
And the week before.
Barbara. You never skip a beat. You sound the same. It's amazing. Very impressive.
Well, I think consistency is important.
Absolutely.
Even in our industry, consistency is important. So I want to make sure everybody knows what they're listening to and where they're at in our episode list.
164.
I'm proud of that number. Yeah. That's a lot of people we've talked to.
I know. Trust me. It's a lot of time I've had to listen to you for an hour, but I really love you, so it's fine. I love it.
So, Barb, it's June. Do you know what June is?
I think that's CDT Appreciation Month.
Yeah, well, I guess I should say it's almost June.
Yeah.
But here on the podcast, we like to celebrate it. I mean, let's be honest, we celebrate it every week. But we want to give you, the listener, a chance to celebrate with us. So for the third year in a row, so this will be our third June, we are asking for people to send in audio clips of them thanking that special dental technician in their life. It can be a coworker, a relative, it can be a lab, it can be a vendor that calls on labs, it can be anybody in our industry. This is a great opportunity to give a shout out to those who you feel that deserve it. So it's super easy to do. You can record yourself on pretty much any smartphone or any computer, save it in a file, and just email it to us at info@voicesfromthebench.com. If you need a little help doing it, feel free to email that too, or reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll be happy to help you record your love. Then, if we get enough of them, we will play them on all the episodes in the month of June to celebrate Dental Laboratory Technician and CDT Appreciation Month. So please, dig deep in your hearts and give a shout out to those special dental technicians.
Jesus, I think you said love like 5 times.
Well, I love this industry. I love dental technicians, and I want people to give their shout out and thanks to me. No, just kidding.
I'll do that.
That's all I want.
All right.
It's just an ego booster. Come on.
Okay. So dig deep in your heart, everybody, and give a shout out.
So this week, we have the CEO of a pretty large group of labs. Laura Kelly worked her way up through the positions of MicroDental. She's also a past president of the AACD, and she's owned her own lab, and now works with a global reaching network of labs that have a rich history of excellence and quality. Laura talks about starting at the bottom and working to the top with the struggles and many accomplishments along the way. She does nothing micro. It's a great story of success and inspiration to hear. So join us as we chat with Laura Kelly.
I love how you added that little micro in there. That was pretty impressive, partner.
Yeah, you like that? Whitmix brings you one of the most exciting things on the market today.
Dun, dun, dun. The patient.
Yes, it's true. The one missing component in any case that we do is the patient.
And now you can change that.
Whitmix introduces the Bellis 3D Pro Professional Face Scanning Solution.
Say that 5 times. This new practical addition to dental lab technology provides us with a fast, easy, and affordable way to capture a 3D facial scan for Smile Design.
With this app, you can easily capture a complete 3D facial scan in less than 30 seconds.
Which is super fast. Collaborate with your dentist to create restorations using your CAD software. Show your patient their new look in advance. They accept it, you do the treatment plan, and you use the scan for the model and articulator alignment.
You can now put a face to your digital workflow with the Bellis 3D Dental Pro. Learn more about this sought-after product at whitmix.com.
And be sure to catch the amazing Lee Culp presenting a Whitmix webinar entitled Bellis 3D Dental Pro, Creating the Virtual Patient. That's on June 9th. Visit whitmix.com/webinars for more information or to sign up.
Voices from the Bench. the interview. We are super excited to welcome to the podcast today Laura Kelly from MicroDental Lab. Now, let me see if I got this straight. You're the CEO of MicroDental, right?
Yeah, I do have the privilege to serve as CEO of Modern and MicroDental USA, so North America and Canada.
Modern and Micro. So I want to get into all of that. But first, I kind of want to learn how you ended up in this industry.
Yeah, like a lot of us, a lot of our colleagues that we speak to, I love it. I love hearing the story about how people get involved in dental, because once you do, so many of us just get sucked in because you get addicted to just everything about this industry that's so diverse and rewarding. And it's just really exciting. So for me, it was really by accident, and MicroDental in the mid to late 80s was moving their, very, very humble start at a small laboratory in a home, actually, in Oakland, California, was moving to a brand new large facility, which is sort of in between where I was going to school at night and where I lived in Pleasanton, California. So they were hiring, and I had some friends that were working there, and they said, you should come here and see, if this is a fit. And I said, well, what is it? And they said, we make teeth. I thought that was the most interesting job I had ever heard of. I didn't realize, I think like many of us and many patients, and just people didn't realize that there was laboratories behind the scenes that were making dental restoration. So I started off as an entry-level technician and moved my way into the lab from opaquing to ceramics to running different departments, and finally up to vice president of sales and marketing. I had an 18-year run there at MicroDental. So it was really just an incredible education during that time to be involved and supported in my career path. But it was just really exciting times, in dentistry, with the cosmetic revolution and dental bonding and all types of things that were happening in dentistry at that time. Similar to now, it's different, but just very exciting times.
So then didn't you open your own laboratory?
I did. So in 1993, I became an accredited ceramist. I achieved accreditation with the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Like many of us, right, Barb? So
yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. So then after that, I really became involved in that particular academy, which I think over 50 committees I served on, and just really enjoyed that group. It was at the time, the world's largest dental organization of cosmetic dentists. We had about 7,500 members.
Wow.
Yeah.
People that were accredited, that many?
No. That's the entire membership, just general members and people in the process. Mm-hmm. But worldwide, largest cosmetic dental organization with accreditation was phenomenal, being able to have that credential to pursue both technicians and dentists, which I thought was very interesting at the time, to collaborate. We all know we do that behind the scenes, but to have an organization that supported, that collaboration with achieving accreditation together was very unique of an experience for me. And and then I actually was encouraged by a lot of the great pioneers in that organization to run for president. So I did, and I wasn't elected. And then the following year I ran again. And so I was able to serve as president. So first technician and first woman to serve as president in 2007. And
yeah, that's huge too. It's amazing.
So that was fun. And that was a great platform, for me to learn a lot. I had to really learn how to work with multiple boards, different organizations within dentistry. And so when I left that position in 2008, I opened up my own small dental laboratory.
So when you were president of the AACD, that was a full-time job. I mean, you didn't do anything other than be president, right?
It ended up sort of being that way.
Yeah, it sounds like it keeps it pretty busy.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't start the lab right until that was completed, because I wanted to really dedicate as much time as I could to that. It was very much a learning experience. I was traveling quite a bit. There was a lot going on at that time with promotion of cosmetic dentistry to the public. So I had the opportunity to go through some media training and do interviews with beauty magazines in New York and radio and a little bit of television, just really trying to get the word out to the consumers that if you were looking for a cosmetic dentist, that the AAC was a really safe place to land, know, and a lot about whitening. There was a lot about smile design. And so it was fun to be able to promote these dentists that were, really just committed to becoming experts at cosmetic dentistry and be able to help, just create some awareness for that. So it was a lot of new activities for me away from the bench, right? Away from
Sure.
the side of things.
Yep.
I'm sure you learned all about management and all the nuances of organization. And with that many members, that's got to be quite a task.
Yeah, there's some really great leaders. It's all volunteer leadership, and there's some people that have what I always loved about the ACD and being involved with the boards is that you attracted people from different parts of our profession. So there was seats dedicated, there still is seats dedicated on the board for a corporate member, right? So you'd have that perspective. You have a dedicated laboratory technician seat. And then a mix of accredited members and general members. And so we were able to get a lot of different opinions coming in from the industry and really work together with those ideas to, determine what initiatives would be best for the AACD to pursue.
Awesome. I didn't see it going in that direction, but I'm really glad it did because, I've been involved as well, and it is an amazing organization, still is. I remember you from back then and how amazing you were. You were one of my idols and still are. And I was like, God, that is so cool to be a technician and be a president of that organization. So I just commend you for that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I know you're accredited too, right? You're accredited, aren't you, Barb? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. So congratulations to that. Yeah, I appreciate that. You do things and then you're not sure afterwards how things will be received.
Every day.
Right. And I was so touched that I received so many letters and thank you cards. And this is when people, hand wrote.
Yeah.
And emails from dental technicians that I had never met, really, that were just thanking me for pursuing this and elevating maybe the role of the technician when it comes to creating, beautiful smiles and collaborating with the dentists. The dentists are very aware of that, but a lot of times the public isn't. And it was nice to have that support from the dental technician community. I really enjoyed it. And when you're there, you're just leading and you're focused on what it is that you're doing together as a group. And you don't think, well, I'm a technician, you're a dentist. You don't think about those things.
Yeah,
you just,
exactly.
Work together. But I can tell you, it really, it humbled me and it made me feel very supported and loved. I really liked those times. Were really good. It's exciting now.
Has there been other technician presidents since?
Yes, there has.
Yeah.
Dwight.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Dwight.
Just want to. Yeah, I didn't know if you broke the mold or what.
She broke the mold, all right. Let me tell you. I think Dwight, correct?
Yeah, Dwight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Dwight was president, and then we've had some other. Betsy Bakeman is a dentist, but another woman, and Joyce Bassett been president of the ACD. So
awesome.
Yeah, they're really great leaders. A lot of support, a lot of people for me to mentor. It's just a great organization.
After your presidential run with the AACD, you decided to open up your own lab.
Yeah, in 2008, that was a great year.
Why didn't you go back? Why didn't you go back to MicroDental?
At that time, it was. I wanted to try something different, really. And MicroDental was still very large. It was a large organization. It had gone different ownership at that time, and it felt like, I wanted to try something new, but I wanted to stay within on the laboratory side. And I had actually some people had approached me to do a partnership with them. And so I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. And 2008 was a hard year, for all of us.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, one of the scariest times, right? But I just keep pushing forward, and you have people that will help you. Dr. Jeff Morley, who was one of the founders of the Academy, was teaching courses at UCLA. And I had he said, look, I know you're just getting your lab started. Would you like to do the aesthetic continuum with us? And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, because there was some instant revenue.
Yep.
Yeah, it started off with like 4 people, and then we grew it to, I think there were 16 of us. And then my lab actually became a part of DSG. So it rolled into DSG. And that was another great turning point for me, because they had asked me to be a part of their executive team. So, here I had gone from a really long period of time at MicroDental for 18 years, being just with one laboratory, even though we had 80 people. And when I left, we had over 700, so that's a growth experience out of one location. But, then going to the ACD, which is completely different because you're working with more organizations and dentists and groups of people and boards, and then starting my own small lab, and then going into DSG, which had 41 locations. And I was overseeing their customer experience team. So putting together a network customer experience team, and then also their university DSO and outside sales teams, and worked a lot with operations and going into all of the different locations. So that was another very new and very rewarding experience for me, because being out of one location is a very different mindset. And, the way that you collaborate with multiple locations is different, and how you have to set things up is a little bit different. So I did that for 3 years in that particular role. And then the CEO position of Modern MicroDental was available, and here we are. So I interviewed for that, and the global CEO hired me. So I said, okay, let's do this.
Wow.
Home to micro. Yeah.
You don't do anything small, do you?
I know, I was going to say. So how has that changed your life? I mean, that's an amazing, super, super important position. What is it like?
It's funny. It's a good question, Barb. I mean, Modern MicroDental is owned by Modern, but it's we have 6,000 employees worldwide. And we're in 20 different countries. It kind of feels like you're, part of like this United Nations of dental or something.
I'll say.
Before the pandemic, we got together, all of the CEOs from the different locations got together at the IDS. And just to be able to sit around the table and learn, about your market, what technology are coming in a little quicker in some countries than others. You can really learn a lot by sitting down and listening. And it was just very inspiring for me to see the success of this group. Modern's been in dental for over 40 years. So they're very dedicated to the dental profession and to dental technicians and technology. So it felt something very new and exciting about it, and worldwide, but also very comforting for me to come back to MicroDental. And there's technicians that were at MicroDental there, and new labs they had acquired, but people I had known. So there was a strong comfort level, with the people, and just really talented, dedicated group of professionals.
Wow. So Modern is like the main company, and then they own MicroDental. So that's kind of how the leadership is. So you have to deal directly with them from day to day, or is it sort of kind of like offsite a little bit?
Well, your financials are your scorecard, right? So
yeah.
Every time that's going, yeah. So Godfrey is the global CEO, and so that would be who I would report to. But he's in Asia, so there is a distance. We connect regularly. He's a phenomenal man. He started off at the bench, so it's he's got a very unique story. He would be a phenomenal person to interview as well.
Hint, hint.
So that's who I report to. Here in the US, we have the way that it's split is we have Modern centers, and then we have the MicroDental locations. So the Modern Dental Labs, which we have 18 MicroDental laboratories, are all domestic manufacturing. We have the MicroDental brand, so we do centralized marketing and centralized customer experience, and we really support all of our labs from a marketing and iOS files, things like that behind the scenes. But each one of the laboratories fabricates everything there on site, and really does an excellent job interacting with their local client base. And really great group of leaders that have been around for a long time, and some new ones too. And then the Modern centers, which there's 6 of those are all managed by CDTs, and they do small repairs and shades and things like that on site, but all of their manufacturing is done globally. So we have design in Hong Kong and in Shenzhen and Dongguan. We also have design services in Madagascar. So there's a lot that we can do 24/7, right? So when we're sleeping, they're awake working on things. So it's a nice model to have those 2 different businesses managed here in the US, just to appeal to whatever, a dentist and how they would like to work.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm under the same sort of umbrella. So we get all of our designs done offsite as well. And them all digitally and come in the morning and everything's ready to roll. And I just really enjoy that business model for me personally. Efficient.
Yeah, yeah. And I had the opportunity before the pandemic, we were all traveling, right? So much, but I had actually visited our manufacturing facilities in several locations, and we do a lot in Europe. Europe is the largest market share that Modern has. And what was nice visiting their facilities, they have a brand new, beautiful building in Dongguan, China. And I had seen the way that they organized it, and it was a whole floor would be dedicated to Germany, right? Or
Wow.
because they're like very dentally committed, high dental IQ people who started all of this, they understand that dentists have preferences, and there's different nuances as well to have how countries like to have their work because of where you go to school, right? How they learn do things. I was really blown away by the removable capabilities and how just walking through and looking at everything that they were doing in Germany and the different countries. It was really inspiring and makes you feel really part of this worldwide, organization.
So Germany gets a certain, style of removable denture compared to like another country?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, they're framed. The dentists want there's just different design.
Interesting.
Here, I would say our frames are a little bit more, the clasps are a little bit more petite. There's certain positions that, the dentists really like these located. And I noticed there in Germany, there was a lot of elaborate design, a lot more structure to the design, that they do. And then, in other countries, they're not going to do so much removable. They might be doing, definitely more fixed, a lot of PFM, right?
Yeah.
Australia has got some phenomenal cosmetic work as well. So it was really interesting being able to sit down and see, all of the different types of styles that different countries might adopt. I remember, and I'm sure you do too, Barb, like, back in the day, you used to see a lot of bevels, right? And typically see long bevels. You could tell, oh, I think this is probably a clinician from the East Coast, versus a clinician that maybe went to UOP or, just whatever that university was teaching as far as prep designs and just different techniques. You could see that even here in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Usually we just see the difference of what they call stuff. Instead of a bridge, they call it a fixed partial denture, and it's still a bridge. It's just about how they learned it in school. Yeah.
The terminology. You're right. The terminology. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd like to know a little bit of the history of modern and microdental. When did it start and why did it start?
Yeah, so Godfrey, when I had the opportunity to sit down with him face to face, when he came out here to discuss with me whether or not this would be a good fit. He is in so many, like I said, they're in 20 different countries, so it was not unusual for him to look at the United States. They had started the Modern Centers a few years prior, so the Modern Centers were here, but he really saw the MicroDental brand and was amazed with the quality of what MicroDental stood for, right? And a lot of large networks or a brand like MicroDental available to purchase, right? Like, this wasn't something that was, by that large of a scale, right, of an operation.
Right.
Yeah.
It just, the timing was really right. So Modern acquired the MicroDental network of laboratories in 2016. And then I came on in the beginning of 2019.
So MicroDental was already here.
Oh, yeah.
Owned by another company. How long has it been around?
Oh my gosh, for over 40 years.
Time.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So when I first began with MicroDental in my career in the mid-80s, they came over, the two original owners, Andy and George Heitz, came over from Hungary. Their father was a dentist and a medical doctor in Hungary, and they came from a family of dentists and medical physicians and artists. And so the two brothers, Andy and George, started the lab. They built that up, right? It was one location. They sold in around, I think it was around 2000. And then the rest is history. It had several owners, private equity firms that came in, and then they acquired MicroDental locations.
Where was the first location?
In Dublin. Well, the very, very first one was out of their laundry room in their home in Oakland. I believe that was in the early 60s. The father started it. And then the two sons, Andy and George, the first location was in Oakland, California. Wow. It was a small house. And then they built the large one in Dublin. And that's the one that most people are familiar with, the ones in Dublin, California. We recently moved the location from Dublin to a brand new facility in Livermore, California. If anyone wants to come out and tour it, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's state of the art. That's corporate headquarters. It's close to where I live in Northern California. We've got a huge digital center. We've got our Mac Studio cosmetic teams that a lot of people are familiar with. It's the higher level of cosmetic work that we do. And then we have just some wonderful implant classic teams. We've got a removable team that's doing a ton of digital dentures now and have brought on some really great people to help lead, this into the future. And all of our ITs out of there, it's about the size of a football field. It's very impressive and it's beautiful. And
wow.
It's in a little bit in wine country in Livermore. So
You've sold Barb.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you have to tell me what kind of wine you guys like. People.
Pinot Noir. Just saying. Yeah. So I've got a question. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I love Pinot. I actually went to Sonoma for my 50th birthday a year ago, and we just had a blast out there. And I did visit the micro facility probably 5 or 6 years ago and was amazed by that facility. So I'm sure this one's just 20 times as nice. So
yeah. And that one was beautiful too. This one's really laid out for education too. So we have 3 different conference rooms. 2 are smaller where we were doing hands-on prior to the pandemic. We're looking forward to opening those back up. And then we have a large facility that holds about 100 theater and 50 classes style, and everything is it's turnkey, it's easy. So we actually, a lot of our partners, strategic partners, different organizations, we just let people use it, right? And they come in and use the facility, but they love touring the lab and just seeing the way that it's laid out and going into the digital, and the digital departments are where people hang out.
Sure. Yeah.
So you mentioned the pandemic. Are you sure? So you mentioned the pandemic and, that change in you guys' life a little bit. So what is that like now? I know it's kind of getting a little better, but you said that you don't have people in the facility. You're not training. Do you guys think in 6 months or so that'll start up again for you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, more and more people are getting vaccinated. I think people are really looking forward to engaging, face to face again. We all love Zoom. We do different things, but definitely people will need it. We may not have plans to do the same number, of people in the room. So we're used to, dentists are used to dealing with different challenges, right? Throughout. So for us, it's the same thing. We're used to being health and safety, is number one. So we've got all those protocols in place. We're just going to do it. We're going to do it a little bit on a smaller scale, but we definitely have people. We've got organizations that have already reserved for their sessions for Q3 and Q4, late Q3, Q4 this year.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Seriously. I just want things to get back to normal in some sort of percentage.
Yeah. Everybody does. Yeah. But, we're really thankful to be a part of this, of dentistry, right? I mean, it's what we do is really important. And we were able to, even when, we had, the shutdown that we had to really coordinate and put together very quickly, and then do the roll back up, we still were able to, you felt like you were doing something, you were a part of helping people, whether it was getting, the PPE for people, whether or not it was fabricating some of the swabs, for testing, being open just on a limited basis for essential services. I think it gave our team a really core purpose to stay engaged in the dental community and just really staying on the phones, talking to all of the different doctors and just letting them know that we're here for them and that they're not alone. And, what do you need? How can we help you? We were engaged the entire time. And, we didn't plan for this in our business plan, right? We didn't have...
Forgot to budget for it.
Exactly. You're only as strong as your team. And we have some really great leaders, and just like dental is all full of really committed people. If you're in this, you really care about really working together and helping people get what they need.
Heck yeah. Agree.
With a company like yours that's so amazingly global, how different was the pandemic to affect you? I mean, we talked to a lot of labs, but not many that have the global reach that yours does. Did it hit harder? Did it hit sooner?
What I would say was something that I notice now, right? You have perspective after
Sure.
time because, you're just in it and you're going.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
But what was nice is we had a little bit of advance notice, right? We kind of saw what was coming because there was different parts of the world that were being affected a little bit sooner than we were. So we had that opportunity to kind of prepare a little bit, right? And I think we also had that ability to lean on each other and to use, you could predict when you were going to kind of come out of it, right? When you could sort of see things happening. I don't think anybody thought, I know in the beginning we all thought, okay, we're going to close for 2 weeks and then go back to normal. But very soon, I think we all realized that there was no going back. It was going to be going forward. And how do we become stronger? What do we work on now so that we can be competitive and we can be better, right? And it did give you the opportunity to sort of get some of those things that you had been working on, but it's really hard to work on them, right, in the day-to-day. We were able to work on some things to make us a little bit more efficient, really on the technology side, and to be prepared. And I think just having that global perspective and being able to talk to colleagues worldwide made you feel supported and connected during a very difficult time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it was like having that global issue to deal with. We were just dealing local.
Right. But I mean, everybody's in the same boat, right? And
yeah.
That's what we all knew.
It's
right?
just all
and
scale. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a strong, strong company. They've been at this for so long and they were absolutely committed to supporting our people first, health and safety first, and then everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned that you're very involved with digital dentures, which is, up and coming in our industry. But how do you do that on a scale as yours? Did you invest into one system? Did you try a couple of different systems? How does that even get integrated in that size?
Yeah, so there's a lot of coordination between our IT, department and our production side when it comes to digital. And so having that mindset of people looking for new ways to do things that are outside of dental, right? And then having that high dental IQ. So we've really merged, I would say, those two departments. So there's a lot of things network wide you can do to manage iOS files. You can do a lot on the client communication and just being very responsive, networking that. But what we've done is we've just hired some real good firepower too, in that department. Rob Cryer, who's had a history at MicroDental too. He's an avid.
Yeah.
And what I love about Rob is he's a technician who's been doing this for over 40 years with a really strong analog background. And we have a lot of people with strong analog that are also have never stopped learning and they're very interested in digital. So when you can take those two skill sets, from a technician and train our teams, right? And train our departments, and then also look for ways to make things more convenient and more predictable for the dentist is really what our mindset is. So we're really working on reducing the amount of appointments that a patient's going to have to come in to see, the dentist to have a removable, and then just working on some different workflows, to make that happen. And then, sometimes it's funny when you have a network, things are more of a challenge, but on another level that you can really scale some things through education, through the teaching that we do, through the webinars, through the support. So we have 2 milling centers with our organization. One's located in Troy, Michigan, and then the other one is out of headquarters in Livermore. So we're kind of stocked there with different printers, and we have R&D out of Livermore too. And we collaborate with the other countries to find out what they're working on, and then we'll try some things here. But I think in the next couple of years, it's going to wrap. We've gone through a lot of change. Everybody knows. You're going to see more and more material change and different things that we'll be able to do on the printers. It's exciting. It really is.
Yeah, all you had to say was Robert Cryer. I mean, that guy's like brilliant. So
yeah,
he's one of the smartest guys I know.
He's a great communicator.
Yeah.
What I've noticed with dentists and then technicians too is a lot of times, we can have a lot of knowledge, but how you communicate that and make it easy for people to understand is really, that's a game changer right there. To take what took you 40 years to learn, but you can articulate that and really help people get there in a much quicker time than 40 years.
I completely agree. I know a lot of brilliant technicians that couldn't explain it if it saved their lives just because they didn't have that ability. But if you find someone that does, you're right. Game change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm lucky to have that. And we've got multiple people, like Rob, in the implant side,
Hmm.
in the aesthetic side. And I love the passion that dental technicians have, to what they've committed to do. And we have not been having the face-to-face in-person, meetings as a team, but through Zoom and through just regular cadence and staying connected, I think people are looking forward to getting together again, but we still aren't doing that on a large scale. The only travel that we really have in the organization right now is when our teams are going in for chairside assistance,
Hmm.
and some of the hands-on courses and clinical courses, but we didn't really plan for that this year until late Q3. So we wanted to give ourselves a little bit of time.
Yeah, so you guys do a lot of chairside help with your clients.
We
You
do.
don't really hear about that when it comes to large group organizations, that you're still able to provide that personal help.
Yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, there's a lot of benefits to being what I see as far as dental laboratories to be a part of a large network. The dentist needs that personalized service.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They need that interaction. They need that technical support at the lab level. And when we can help take off the plate, we have all the meetings with the strategic partners. We put in, everything to help make ordering product easy or file management easy. You can imagine, modern being as large as it is worldwide, the pricing that we can get. So all of these things really help the lab at the local level just focus on really just putting everything they can into making every single one of those cases the best they can, and working with the doctor's chair side if that's their one of their core competencies locally. The dentists like that. They really need that intimate connection.
Oh, yeah. So I've got a question about your Mac team and that aesthetic center. So how do you find quality technicians out in California? Like if you're looking to hire somebody, where are you finding them? Are you bringing them in to train? I mean, obviously that type of level, you can't just have a 2, 3 year technician walk in the door and be able to create that. Are you struggling at all with hiring? Is where you're at?
Yeah, Barb, I think everybody is right now from all my friends in the dental lab industry outside of, our group too, that's the talk. How you find ceramists, how you find, it's
Yeah.
very difficult. And where are we going to get the next generation, of ceramists and the people and what's it going to look like?
Hmm.
What skill sets do you want to train? But Mac has been around for a long time. It started when I first was at MicroDental. It stood for Micro Advanced Cosmetics.
Mhm.
We were getting inquiries for doctors to do things a little bit more specialized, and it wasn't falling into sort of the bread and butter workflows that we had. So, and what the model that we have found that works the best is to take your more experienced ceramists and dental technicians and then have an apprentice program underneath them. So you're constantly sort of building people up through that.
Mhm.
Are becoming CDTs, so they're getting involved with that. And then also the AACD, and going through accreditation. So we really support that process as well. But a lot of our Mac technicians, they definitely are, they've been doing this over, 15, 20 years. That's 100% what they focus on. Las Vegas Institute was something we were really heavily involved with.
I remember. Yeah.
I think you learn as a technician, you learn so much. The more time you spend chairside, right? The more time you see your cases going into the mouth, you become better at what you do. I hear
Mhm.
the same thing from dentists when they tour our labs or they come in and they, spend a half a day or just a couple of hours. They go back with a different perspective on how they might prep that tooth. And so we have always encouraged that. It's part of the MAC philosophy is to understand both sides of it a little bit more and then just really concentrate on those advanced cases and get the education anywhere that we can. We're part of a lot of the organizations, Seattle Study Club, Spears,
Yeah.
everything. A lot of these people have been involved with these organizations throughout the years, and they just have a very good foundation of aesthetics. And then we bring people in too to teach
Mhm.
people how to
Nice.
continuously get better at it. But it is going to be a challenge in the future. I think more and more labs are just going to have to, you're going to have to take people that are interested, in becoming that level of technician and then give them the support internally.
Yeah.
Train your own.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
What does your training look like at MicroDental? Do you guys have like a centralized place where you send people when you get a new hire, or is it like the classic throw them on a bench and over the shoulder type training?
It's everything's changed too now.
Well,
you know.
yes.
Yeah, so we're in the what we've been doing now is we've had different trainers, we've had all different ways we've done this of sending people around, right, and having a training program on the road. We did that a couple of years ago. So now things are really happening at each one of the lab levels, but we do have different training protocols that we've put together, and then also able to reach out to our colleagues in different countries. They've got some phenomenal training that we're able to take advantage of. The onus comes on the particular lab. We give them all the support that we can from a corporate level. We have trainers, but they've been really working on it at the lab and each one of the labs individually, with the tools, though, and the support and the systems that we have.
Sure. And you encourage employees to become CDTs?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We actually will support that for them. And also to pursue accreditation with the AACD. We want people to stay engaged, right, and continuously learn and improve. And I think it keeps people a part of your team. If they're supported in their career and they're encouraged, I don't think people typically leave because they get $1 more an hour. I think they leave because they're not inspired. They don't see a career path. I think they like that support, and we want to offer that to people.
Yeah, I agree with that. If there's a certain point where if they don't feel that they can do more, they get burnt out.
Right.
They stop caring, I guess.
Has that division, I know from my own experience, I was thinking after the country got rolling again in May, June of last year, that the aesthetic divisions would be the last to come back. But what I found here in our laboratory is that we are busier for like diagnostics and full mouth cases. And I was thinking implants and aesthetics was going to be the last to come back because that's where all the fee for service is. But are you seeing the same thing where that division's super busy?
It's so funny. I mean, we felt the same way, Barb. We were sitting there thinking, oh gosh, what's going to happen with aesthetics? It's going to be need-based. I'm in pain. Yeah. I'll go to the dentist, and that's what we're going to have. And we also thought that removable was going to come back a little bit quicker because maybe people would do more removable instead of implants, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Kind of a placeholder. We all had, financial things we're trying to manage. Oh, yeah. So there was all these moving parts, but I think that's one of the things that was so exciting for us to see. And I know that, all our friends in the industry that I speak to as well, cosmetics did come back with a bang. There's a lot of pent up stuff out there. Same thing with implants. And if anything, we saw a little bit of a lag in the removable. It's definitely picking up now, but I think that had more to do with that patient. The removable patient is typically a little bit older. Yeah. And they were not as comfortable going to the dentist office not being vaccinated. But now that we're seeing more vaccines and we're seeing that that's opening up, I think that we're going to see removable also increase. But we're really happy to see the cosmetics come back. And like I said, each one of our MAC departments at our laboratories is busy with aesthetics.
Fantastic.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
We've seen an explosion lately of fixed hybrids, which is a combination of both.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of those.
Yeah, and one of our facilities, we have 2 in New York. One is in the Rochester area as a MicroDental, and then we also have one in Long Island. The one in Rochester is right now, and we're converting that, really transitioning it into a center of excellence for the large cases, the conversion cases, the large zirconia, and have some great talent, in that region. So that'll be something that our teams can lean on too, and it's exciting to do new things.
Yeah.
And expand, right?
So what's next for MicroDental? What are you guys working on coming out of this pandemic?
Oh gosh, what are we working on? I would say some of definitely our key initiatives are all related really to aesthetics, removable and implants. Those are sort of the key product areas that initiatives built behind. A few of the areas that we're really working on right now is digital support services and having our teams be very digitally competent in what the dentists are managing on their side. So once again, the better we understand their world, the better support we think that we can offer them from the laboratory perspective. So we're spending a lot of time working on our team's ability to digitally support and communicate and do this in a very timely way for the dentist. We want to be able to support them. We can't be there on site. We want to make sure before they send that patient away after they've done an intraoral scan that they're confident that the scan is what it needs to be. So we're spending a lot of time with that. Really building out our IT capabilities to expedite the workflow within our network. The less time we can spend on the front end, have our team spend on the front end and the back end, and really have their time dedicated to, case consulting with the patient, with the doctors over the phone, and spending the time that's really needed to make those cases just really rock right out the door. Not on the die. I mean, like happy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like rock star, rock. That I think that's better time spent, right? So we're looking at ways to have our teams just be able to focus more in those areas, because that's really the area that the customer values. We need to case center cases. We need to build cases. We need people to do that. But really, our technicians need to really be focused on spending their time with clinicians and then also on the cases.
Yeah, I know some labs, the technicians are spending too much time just organizing when they should be doing it.
Right.
Like bringing in intraoral scans. You got to go to 12 different websites to gather all the information. And that's time you should be spending making those restorations.
Exactly. And, our IT department, you don't have to have a dental IQ to figure that out, right? Those are the workflows and processes. So we're just trying to put people in the lanes that they can really benefit the organization. And then once again, just much more, we're collecting a lot more data and really making our decisions based upon what we see, right? And from the customers' feedback to us, as well as what we're seeing internally. And we're really looking to make improvements before somebody tells us we need to.
Yeah.
We're trying to get ahead of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Good luck.
So I see a lot of your ads, with your beautiful smiles of your Mac team and everything. Do you guys have like any internal competitions on, whose case you're going to choose or what doctor you're working with? I mean, really, really great marketing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Curious about that.
Yeah. One of the things that I've really noticed, and I'm so happy they stayed with this over the, however many years it's been since MicroDental started, is they never show in any ad or any case. It's all cases that we've done.
Yeah.
And it's no stock photography. It's just, if you see a case, it's something that one of our technicians did, Mac or not, they made the case. And we always like to highlight the clinician because it is a teamwork, right?
Sure.
It's the dentist and the technician and then the patient. So we do have a couple of contests that we do with organizations, but we have one it's kind of the Mac Studio, Mac model contest. We're going to be doing one for removable this year, which I'm excited about that, to really focus on the aesthetic denture and that market. But yeah, we do. We have a whole contest that we launch every year where we invite dentists to submit cases. And the story of the patient is really important too, right? Comes into it. It's amazing to have them really share what they went through and how long they've been thinking about, making a change with their smile and then the impact that made on their life. And we've got this, kind of a year-long submission, and we ramp it up a little bit, but it's really great to see the submissions and see the stories. We've got a couple right now that they'll be out in social media a little bit more, a flight attendant where it made an amazing difference in her life. And then also a young veteran who had some challenges with bulimia, different things, and we were able to restore her mouth. But we give the patient a really, the people who are selected, the patient gets a really great experience with this too. So we have stylists come in and we do really have a great experience for them. They feel really a part of sharing their story. And it's something that we're going to be expanding upon this year with different product lines, not just the aesthetics.
I really like that because you really get the emotional connection, the whole story. I think that's what makes us thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. You're right. When you hear that, it really brings it home. It really warms your heart. I mean, I tell this to the teams all the time. Well, when I was flying around and visiting a lot of the different labs, now we just do it on Zoom. But I tell them, how many people can say, what they do every day is unique and different. It's a human body part. You make people function and feel better. You can change a look, something that's been bothering, you can change that. just the simplicity of having a molar with a contact right, and margins makes you not think about it. And you can, get on with your day. You're not always, fiddling with something or something's not bothering you. And you guys get to do that every.
Right. So true.
Yeah, you get to, it's really important. And, if you sit down as a technician, I did this with one of the technicians who's been there for like 25 years. And I said, okay, well, and he predominantly does just finish grinding for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how many of these do you do a day? He kind of gave me the number, and I said, okay, and there's 252 billing days a year. Okay, let's time that. How many years you been doing this? It was like, you have like there's 700,000 people walking around with something that you've made, in their mouth, and you're helping them just live life and not have to think about it and feel good. And so we have to think of it that way. It's not just we're trying to hit a number at the end of the month, or it's a pan with a piece of paper on it and a due date. This is important. What we do is important, and it's very rewarding to be a part of this industry. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you. I'm over here on the other side of my computer, just smiling brightly because I echo that, and I love that. That's fantastic. Makes me feel happy. Sorry, Elvis.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to apologize. Feel happy, Barb. It's all good.
It's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Feel Happy Friday.
So, Laura, here you are on our podcast, but you have a podcast.
Oh, cool.
The Smile Matters podcast. So what brought that around? Inspiration by us, I hope.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to take that offline. Maybe we can talk about that. But it came from so our marketing team is phenomenal. The marketing director, I hired him like 20 years ago. He's still there. So very much our brand protector. And he's hired a team that's out of Livermore, does everything for the network. And when the pandemic hit, we went into, engagement mode. We had to really split into sections what we were going to do to stay engaged with the field as we were rebuilding some of our infrastructure to plan on when we reopened. So he's got a team that was very familiar with doing podcasts. One person in general had produced these before. And in one of our sessions, our marketing sessions, our weekly cadence, it came up right away. Look, we need to engage with the dental community. How can we do that? And how can we help dentists that we had a 24-hour answering service, our customer experience team taking calls on the weekends and at night. And people were, dentists were, everybody was really concerned, right? And they had a lot of questions and concerned about what the future would look like. And so we sat down and we said, let's do comeback strategies, and let's just reach out and get dentists on the phone that have been through a lot of challenges, right, in their career. And let's see if we can just share the message on what we can share to the dental community of what they should be looking at. What are these people who have been through a lot of different things, whether that was 9/11, whether it was AIDS, whether it was the recession, different recessions, just things. Let's see what they're working on and let's share that. So I just got on the phone and started calling all of my friends really at the AACD. I got Larry Rosenthal. We just started like Guy Lewis, Winnecuda, a lot of the past presidents of the AACD, because these guys have been practicing 30, 40 years. So they've seen a lot, and everybody said, yes, I want to help. Right. And got some of the new leaders too, like Joyce Bassett and different people. So what are you working on? What are you doing? What are you focusing on right now? What should other people be looking at? So that's how it started. And it felt good to do something because I think for all of us, we felt like we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But at least you can share, right?
For sure.
So that's how it started. But it's really now, it's continuing, and we're just trying to bring in, different topics of interest, whether it's marketing, whether or not it's digital, right? iOS adoption, sleep, whatever. We stay engaged with the community to see what it is they want to hear. And we're trying to share what other great leaders and great organizations are doing. And that's really, really our purpose, is to help expose people to information in a very short, easy way, right? So most of them end up being about 20, 25 minutes. So it's something you listen to in the car, you can see a name of a dentist that you might recognize, or even some of the younger dentists are really doing some phenomenal things when it comes to social media and showcasing their cases and how they've come out of the pandemic even stronger and had some really great years. And, what are you doing? And, I love dentistry. I love dentists and dental technicians, really our community. We don't have a problem sharing. And,
No.
we make it bigger for everybody, right? There's so much work out there that I feel like our competition is always ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Last case you sent, so just keep doing better yourself and everything works out. So it's going great. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. They seem to enjoy it. And
well, when they came up with the idea, did you know you wanted to host it?
No.
Or did they have to talk you into it, or?
Yeah, they just said, you're doing this. This is what we'd like you to do. And I said, okay. That's how that went.
You're good. You're very natural. I've listened to a couple episodes. It's good stuff. But the flow, which to me is always important with a podcast, it's good. It's good. Yeah. It's real nice.
You have a great voice.
Oh, thank you. I didn't go to professional podcasting school.
If they exist, we didn't either.
Well, I think you should give courses on it. I will take the course.
And I feel you that when you start, you ask friends to be on it, because we had everybody we knew.
Yeah. It just really, it just came from wanting to share and have people feel connected and have hope for the future. And you know how it is. Even when you attended a lecture, like a full day lecture, a lot of it would be something that you're familiar with. But if you walked out of that room, out of that course with a couple, one or two things that you felt like you could implement, then it was definitely worth it. And so that's what we were trying to accomplish with those. And
that's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, it's an amazing story. Going from you started in the model room to CEO.
I actually didn't do model.
You skipped model room.
Opaking.
I was a driver.
Yep. Okay. That's where I started. That's awesome.
I call that a mobile service provider. I know most people call you a driver, a pickup and delivery. I would call that a customer experience mobile provider. But so 3 months I did that. And then we were expanding, what the lab was growing. And they said, do you want to opaque? And I said, sure. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. And learned how to do that. I think one of the things I loved about growing up really at MicroDental and under the owners that were very committed to dental technology was if you wanted to advance, you could, right? You had to bring it, you had to do the work,
sure.
But it was a great place to be, to encourage to do good quality work, and you would be supported. And so, opaquing was really the first, my first. Yep, I loved it though. I thought it was so cool.
Oh, I loved it too. They don't do that anymore, but it was awesome. Well, they do somewhere, but not here. Not in our lab.
So one final question.
Sure.
After retirement, are you going to go back to being a driver?
No.
If I get promoted and they allow me to do that, I would love it. I think retirement. Isn't that funny? I'm so happy with what I'm doing. I can't even think of what retirement could feel like. I know someday, right? Everything sort of goes in that direction. But right now I'm just enjoying working with everyone and helping them be successful, that I want to continue to do that with the teams and just with the profession, having a good time.
Well, we're sure you're going to do amazing things between now and then too. Well, Laura, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, thank you. It's really been a great time with you guys, and look forward to seeing you in person as well.
Someday.
Yes, too. Someday.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Laura.
you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
So a big thank you to Laura Kelly. You are one of my personal inspirations for coming on our podcast. We know how busy that you are, but it was really great to hear your story. Be sure to check out her podcast that talks to dentists and others in the industry about coming back after the pandemic. It's called the Smiles Matter Podcast. It can be found where most podcasts are found. So you might just learn something that you can pass on to your dentist. And remember to get your audio thanks to us for Dental Lab Technician Month, CDT Appreciation Month. Wow, that was hard. Send them to info@voicesfromthebench.com. It will be June before you know it. So get them into us. This is our third year. We super love doing this. So send them our way.
Awesome. That's all we got for you, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm so excited to do this episode. All right, let's do it.